Hello and welcome to Ozscalemodeling, and this is the 1700 build, the FlyHawks Bismarck, German Bismarck. And this is part 8. And part 8 means that, well, I'm doing the mast. Decided to start on the mast. So we've got the photo etch brass parts here. I'm putting it together here, so you'll see it's just some glue drying there, so I'll be a bit careful. Just working my way up doing the parts for that. You can see there's like a crow's nest sort of thing. This piece here, which I'm about to take off, needs to go mount about halfway up. Then there's another section of mast that comes off at an angle, which may prove a little bit tricky to get that to stay in place, but we'll see how we go. And there's quite a few pieces going across the mast as well. You know, it's built here in the picture, so there's no reason why it can't be built for real. It does seem to have like a bracket of some sort. We'll have a look at that. Help support the piece that comes off at an angle. Anyway, so I'm going to continue working on this. I'll just show you. This is the catapult, which is all painted. So those parts have been painted up. The other piece that was there was on top of the superstructure. I've actually glued that in place because that also acts as a support for where this mast will fit. So I want to get all that done, and then probably go back and start working on some of the railings on this piece of superstructure, which we haven't started on yet. Just try and get this. Here we go. So there's going to be a few railings and bits and pieces to go around the sides of this, all getting done before it goes onto the actual deck itself. Of course, there's lifeboats too. 1, 2, 3, 4. We haven't even started on yet. So hopefully we'll get quite a bit of progress done in this video. But I'll continue on with this, and we'll be back in a sec. Cheers. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back. So I've jumped a little bit ahead. I've finished the mast, and I've got it painted at the moment. So we'll have a look at that when it's all dry and safe to handle. I've also been working on the base now that I'm using the plastic base here. I'll show you where I'm at with that. So what I did was originally I've painted it all grey. Actually, it's sort of a cement looking color. That's what I was aiming for. A JAXF14 grey. That's what I did it originally. Then I've taped it all up, as you can see here. Then I've used, this is a red-brown XF64. So I'm going to show, there we go. And I'm just currently taking all the tape off from that. And hoping that it all was taped up properly. That helps. But yeah. So what I want to do next after I've got this off, I have to be careful. I've only painted this about an hour ago, so I don't want to be touching the brown just yet. But that's coming off okay. I'm not too concerned about getting any spots on here because I need to weather this up quite a bit. But basically it's looking okay. So rather, I won't take them all off now, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use gunmetal, and I'm not sure which, but I'll paint probably the section in between there in the gunmetal, and then the blocks on the end all the way along I'll do in aluminium. That's actually grey. Where is it? There's my flat aluminium, and I think that might look good. So certainly better than just black plastic. So of course I still want to dirty it up a bit, and you know, I'm gonna have bits of rust and other markings on there, probably oil stains and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I will come back and have a look at that when I progress a bit further, and we'll have a look at the masts that I've done. Oh, I'll also show you here on this superstructure I've been working on as well. A bit hard to see, but you'll see the stairs. So there's about 1, 2, 3, about 6 sets of stairs in there. There you go. You know, you'll notice that their photo etch is not painted. I'm going to hand paint them. Just get in there with a tiny little brush and touch all those stairs up, and that should look fine. There's more railing to do, but the railing, I will not sure whether I'll paint that on the sprue or whether I will paint it on here. Probably best to paint it on the sprue and then take it off and put it on, and then if I need to I can just touch up any spots that might come off. But yeah, little fiddly bits, but it's starting to look, well, it's starting to come together. Okay, so back shortly. Okay, hello, welcome back. So I decided to paint these railings on the metal sprue pieces because it's much easier. So I give them a undercoat first, and then if I can I'll do 2 base coats of the XF54 that I'm using. And I've just taken a couple of pieces off here, as you can see, and they will go along around the side on either side of this. There's some more railing for the next level up, which is on another piece, which I've just put the final base coat on, so I'll leave that for a couple of hours to dry properly before I take them off. I'll just handle these very carefully, and if I do scratch or get, you know, a bit of, you know, the paint, the metal comes, shows underneath, I can just touch that up. It's quite simple. The ladders, the ladders climbing up to the levels in there that you saw earlier, I've given them 1 coat of the base coat, and because this is already thinned, it means I'm going to have to do another coat, possibly a 3rd, just to touch them up in there. I really should have done those on the sprue as well, but of course they needed folding and handling a lot more, so either way I would have still been at it with a paintbrush touching them up, so that's okay. The mast is, as you saw, is complete. I don't know if I showed it before, but there's the mast there. It's all painted up and ready to go on. Now I'm not putting that on just yet because obviously that could be knocked off quite easily while I'm still working on the rest of this, so I'll leave that aside. And I've also just noticed that the catapults, which I've finished and painted up, will probably fit on them before I need to attach this to the deck. I will double check that, but that would be handy if I can just glue them straight on there and have that bit done. That will have that out of the way, and that'll be good. As for the stand, the progress on the stand for the ship, there's where I'm at the moment. That's pretty much the painting done. I did actually go darker and did the gunmetal on that because it was darker than the other. What was it? Yeah, gunmetal, and I had metallic black. It was a metallic black I used on that because it just made it stand out a bit more. Now, mind you, that's going to be under the ship anyway. You're not going to see it. This is all fully clear coated. Feels nice and smooth, and that's ready for weathering, which will be later on. But I've still got to figure out how I'm going to get that to look. Okay, so I will leave that aside and we'll work on that later. I'd like to get all these railings on here and see how that looks, and then get back to work on the deck. All right, so back shortly and we'll have a look. Okay, welcome back. I had a quick break there, and I've started on all the little bits and pieces. There was more than I realized to be added on here. There was some extra stairways. There's a few other bits and pieces. There's a few little boxes that had to go on there, or even a couple of guns I'd missed. The railings, well, there's lots. I've done most of the lower deck, and I'm working on the second deck, but I've already done the top higher deck, so those were good. What I've done is I'm glad that I painted them on here, on the sprue here. Sorry, you can't see. There we go. I painted them on the sprue here. That made it a lot easier. They're all going on, and now what I'm using is my ammo ultra glue, MIG ultra glue. This is for photo etch, and the reason I'm using it is because it dries slow, but it's watered down enough to hold the piece in position, and then I can take my time and make sure it's exactly how I want it to be. And when it does dry, unlike CA glue, it won't dry brittle. So when it does dry, you can touch it with the tweezers and you can still move it around a little bit without it coming off, whereas CA glue, it's instantly stuck. And if you try and do that on CA glue, it most likely is just gonna fling the whole thing straight off. This is a softer glue and it grips fine, perfectly fine, especially at this scale on the railings. Though I have noticed on some of my 350 scale ships railings that I've done months ago, some of the railings are popping off and coming loose that I've used CA glue on. Maybe because things are stretched and moved and handling them a bit. You know, there's no give in CA glue. It's pretty much, you know, it's like cement. Whereas this stuff, it's more plastic, got a bit more give in it, and that's not going to happen. So I'm going to keep going because I've still got that center deck to do some railings all the way around, and I'm getting close to being able to actually, I think, connect this down to the main deck on the ship. Now I also have railings to go on the other superstructure as well, and there was a section on there that the instructions didn't tell me which railings to use, but because I've almost finished this, one of my other sprue ones here actually has some railings that are left over, which I'm looking at most likely be the ones I'm missing on the other superstructure. Okay, if you understand all that. Yeah, but otherwise the instructions so far have been quite accurate, and just those lots of little bits and pieces and bits of plastic pieces that, you know, this is getting hard to hold now. There's not much I can hold it by, but, you know, there's these little pieces on the side on the deck here that I've had to put on, and I just quickly touched them with some of the paint the right color, and they go straight on. You'll see that the stairways there are still glinting, and that's after a second layer of my thinned down paint. What I'm going to have to do is, what's happened is all of the mixed paint except 54, all that I had left wasn't much, so I thinned it all down, ready to use, expecting to have to spray most of it. What I'm going to do is find another paint that's close to it and try and get a thicker consistency, not so thinned down, and I'll come back and just touch up these little pieces in here and get them good coverage on them. The problem is they're so small that using a tiny little brush and getting in there, you don't want the paint too thick that it's filling in the stair treads or it's blocking on the railing. you know, it's got to go on properly as well. So you sort of got to balance the two. Anyway, I will continue on and we'll come back and see a bit more progress. All right, welcome back again. And I'm just about to do a test fit of this second superstructure that goes onto the rear half of the ship here. And I'm pretty confident it'll be okay. Let's have a look. So pretty much that will just sit in there. And we'll just press that down there. Yep. And there it is. And everything seems to be touching where we want it to. Yep, it's perfect fit. Very good. Happy with this. Now, what I've got to do is put the catapult that goes in across the center there, which I've got over here, and I just wanted to check first. It seems like it's probably best that I connect it to the superstructure and then put this in place. I'm thinking that's probably the easiest way. So yeah, so I'll take this away here. It's very difficult at the moment because railings and everything are on here. The only place I can handle it is by here or the back there. So I'm going to put the catapults, 2 catapult sections along the back there, and then this will be ready to glue down, which I will do, and we'll have them both in place. We'll come back and have a look. Okay, welcome back, and as you can see, I've got the structure all glued down now. I've got the catapult through the center there, all connected on. And our mast is on as well, which is a bit much in the picture, but I'll roll that over to be able to see. There's our mast. Quite good there. So, there you go. Starting a little busy on there. I'll tell you what it is. There's a lot of stuff in there. So, all that section on there is all complete now, other than obviously the turret, which I can put on any time. And this section here needs a bit more fence railings, which we'll do. Oh, there's also lifeboats to go on here. We've got 4 lifeboats, 1 on each side of here and 1 and 2 over each side of the middle there, which I haven't even started yet. I think I've painted the hull of the lifeboats, but that's all I've done. So we'll get on to that. And of course, there's still a bit of touch up on the deck there for paint and some of those pieces that I've stuck down there. But yeah, it's starting to take shape now. Okay. So now I'm just going to, there's still the 2 cranes on either side that can go on any time. But I'll probably work on the railings on this section here, finish them first. There's some guns to go on the sides here as well. And of course, railings around the whole ship. And the lifeboats. All right, so come back when I've done a bit more. Okay, back in a second. Okay, hello, welcome back, and I'll just show you where I'm at with the our base and our stand for the Bismarck, and here we go. So I've done some painting. I've weathered it, trying to give it that cement look. Some usual grease and grime and oil stains all over it. I don't know, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's looking pretty good. Certainly better than just painting it a simple black plastic. So yeah, that's what the ship's going to sit on. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's come up quite nice. I don't think I'm going to need to do anything else with it. Obviously, there's really not much of it's going to be seen, but still, at least I can lift the ship off and say, oh, look what it sits on. Okay, so done. I put that aside. What was I going to? I mentioned the other lifeboats and so forth, but what I really want to do is put those decals down on the deck and get those black marks on there. Also, these cranes need to go on, and we need to put a few other turrets and so forth on there. So let's do that. We'll back in a second. I'll bring it over onto the bench. Okay, so we've brought the ship back over, and I've put the two big turrets on the side here. Just turned at an angle at the moment because these two turrets go in these spots, but I want to keep these spots for holding with my clips in here, just to make it easy to move my ship around, and particularly when I'm going to be doing clear coat later. So these ones will stay off. These smaller ones here, there's 6, 3 on each side. Put them on. So it's starting to look a bit crowded up on deck now. The anchors need to be painted, and a few of these bits here need to be done the proper grey. So I'm going to probably do that now, and then we'll go back to the instructions where I've sort of jumped around a bit now. I'm sort of not really following them in any particular order. It's just a matter of putting what's left on the deck. Of course, the lifeboats still have to be built up. But most of the major stuff is, as far as I can tell, is all done. There's railings to go on this front section here that we haven't done yet, so I'll be putting those on. Okay, back shortly. Okay, back for a sec, and as you can see, the decals are on. I think they look good. Yeah, went on well, no problems. So I will continue on with placing other little bits and pieces on the deck and painting, touch up a few bits, and some railings and all the rest. I'll be able to put those cranes on pretty soon too. See how that goes. All right, back again shortly. All right, hello, welcome back. So let's have a look. I've been doing quite a bit. I've got quite a bit done on this at the moment, and let's have a look at where we're at. So a lot of the stuff on the deck I've painted. In there, have a closer look. So there's a lot of all these little bits and pieces here. I've done all proper grey. The anchors, I need to just give another coat. They're still looking a little bit light in colour. I still have to put the breakwater barriers on the deck here, and they're also on each side here. Now, I've done all the railings are done on both superstructures. Move along and have a look. So we've got all our little railings are in here, are all done now. Right through to this section at the back here, all the railings. Really the only thing left for railings on here, I think, is basically around the whole deck of the ship, which I've got painted at the moment. So I did a good thick undercoat of those last night. This morning I'll put the base coat, and then later after a few hours I'll put a second base coat on them, so I don't want them scratching up. And this afternoon I'm going to try and put those on, or make a start. You'll also notice on here the cranes are on. So there's our crane on this side, got them on the other side as well. So they look good, they went on no problem. What else have I done? I've done a few little bits of touch up where some little bits of photo etch was shining, glinting through where the paints was come off during the fitting. There's as you can see there, it's on the stand, so that's what it's going to look like on the stand. pretty happy there. It's come up really nice. Towards the rear, I still have these areas here to be painted yet. I'll do all that. And I didn't realize, but there's hose reels, there's a couple little guns on the deck here, all those bits in there that will need painting. I just went through and put them all down. There was a lot of little bits and pieces. There's one photo I'll show you just how small some of these little canisters I had to put that sit along the wall are. I'll stick that photo up. You can have a look at that, just how tiny those were. As a few people have commented, this photo etch is quite testing, and I'm at the point where I think that as for 1/700 scale ships are concerned, this may be the last one, because yeah, it's getting a little bit out of the range of fun. It's no longer fun when you have to struggle with pieces and you can hardly see what you're doing. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, let me just get this camera back to its original position. There we go. That's better. So, yeah. So what I want to do is we'll finish up this video here, which is part 8 of the build, and I'm hoping to finish this in part 9, because I have another model that I want to get started on. Yeah, mainly the fact that I'm just looking to work on something a bit bigger. Yeah, not that I'm going to go blind doing this, but yeah, I want to start on working something a little bit larger, and so that's going to happen. All right, so this video will finish and we'll go on to part 9, which will be putting all these railings on. I'm going to have to clear coat this. I still have some lifeboats to build to go on the deck. There's a few little touches all the way, of course, and of course the weathering of the whole ship, which is one of the fun parts I look forward to. So that will all be, hopefully all be, in part 9 of the build. Okay, so as usual, please comment below if you've got comments below. Any tips or suggestions of the build? If you've built this yourself, I highly recommend it. It is a really good build, and the detail of these FlyHawk models is just incredible. When it comes to this scale, you can't beat it. It's like, you know, in my opinion, Tamiya, I think, builds some really nice detail, well-fitting ships in 1/350 scale. And I think these are the equivalent, if not better, for the 1/700 scale, the FlyHawk ones. Now, I mean, you don't have to get the, you know, the ultimate additions that I'm building that comes with all this photo etch. You can build this with just straight out of the kit, without the extra stuff, and it will still look really good. But of course, we all like to go that one step further and add all the extra detail. But sometimes, as I'm finding with this particular model, it's just too much. It's just too much. You saw that tiny little piece on the match head. I mean, seriously, I mean, some things are just, you know, people who are going to view this wherever you've got it displayed, they're not going to see half that stuff. There's no way they're going to see half that stuff, let alone know that you went to the trouble of cutting that off the sprue, painting it and gluing it on. That's not just part of a piece of structure that went on, you know. So I think a lot of the detail is just sometimes goes a little bit too far. And I can tell you now, there is photo etch here that I won't be using. I didn't mention it before, but I've got these little pieces sticking out on the side here, which I'm guessing would have something to do with the boats, lifeboats. Someone could probably put that in comments what they are. There's photo etch for that. Now there's two reasons why I didn't put them on. One was I didn't realize there was photo etch for it, because again, you've got to follow the instructions and your separate photo etch instructions. And I missed that. I didn't realize. But when it comes down to it, that looks almost, 90% just as good as what the photo etch of it would look. So there are times like that where I've gone, no, I'm just using the kit piece. Or this bit of photo etch is so small, it's just not going to be noticeable by, people don't walk along and look at your models through magnifying glasses. or come to think of it, even microscope. Anyway, that's it. So yes, comment below. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button if you liked the video, and hopefully I'll catch up with you all and see you in the next part, which will be part 9. Okay, stay safe. Bye for all. Bye all. Bye.